running? Okay. Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. Kate Paine here, and I have my friend Julie Douglas for Coffee with Kate.
Woo-hoo!
So thank you for being with me today, Julie. And thanks, everybody,
You
for
are
tuning in. I'm going to take a sip
Where
of coffee
did I
because I just
go?
ran in. Huh? Are you still there? Are you? Uh-oh. Okay. I don't know. We lost Julie. Great. Nice way to start, having technical difficulties. I'm sure that Julie will come back in. So thanks for joining me today. I am going to be talking with my friend Julie Miller Davis from Colorado Springs, and she's coming back into the broadcast here. So hang on just a second. There you are.
Hi.
We lost you for a minute. Are you? I'm just, unfortunately, sometimes we have these technical difficulties. One thing I have found during this time with COVID is that since we're all on Zoom all the time or doing stuff like this, we're all much more forgiving of technical glitches because everybody's learned that, as they say, shit happens. So, Julie, today we're going to be talking about productivity. I want to share some of your really good stuff with our viewers today. And but first, before we get started, I was just going to let everybody kind of know how I know you. So Julie is a fellow member of eWomen Network. I joined eWomen Network in the Vermont chapter about a year and a half ago. Julie's been in eWomen for how long? Like 6 years?
6 or 7.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I went to conference last year in Dallas, my friend Etienne Morris and I, and Etienne might be on watching today, did this thing with Gifted Wisdom. And Sandra called us out on stage. Sandra Yancey's the CEO. She called us out in front of everybody. And the first person that came up to me afterwards was Julie. And she's like, we have to talk. And then we came together in Dallas in last December, pre-COVID, to each do our Gifted Wisdom videos. And we hit it off like we'd known each other for 20 years. So, and then Julie's just become a really good friend. And she's got a really cool program coming up too. We're going to talk about toward the end. And so now I'm going to just send it over to you, Julie. If you can just describe a little bit about who you work with and what you do with regards to productivity, that would be great.
Yes. Love to. So I work with those business owners and entrepreneurs. I like to say that I'm moving them from mediocrity into excellence, one habit at a time. So our productivity is directly linked to our habits. So I work with mostly women business owners and a few good men who have come to that point where they know that something's got to give. They know what they don't know. And they know they can't keep doing all the things in their business anymore. And in order to move and they have ideas of how to move their needle forward and what they want to do, but they have no time to implement. Right. So we look a lot
I would think that would be all of us on some level.
Yeah. We look a lot at what you have control of, what you don't have control of, what you should let go of completely, and what you should grab hold of. And then start changing up your habits and your patterns so that you can get those right things done. So I work with a lot of the overwhelmed, something's got to give. I don't know if I can keep going this way. Those are the kind, or I was so busy all week, I don't even know what I did. And I know there's things I want to do, big things for my business, but I have no idea how I'm going to do them, where to start doing them, or how in the world I'm going to find time to do them.
Thanks. So when somebody first comes to work with you, what's like the very first thing you do to help them? I mean, do you do like an assessment? What is the first thing that you do to kind of see where there are? Because obviously everybody's in different places.
If someone does a really short call with me or something, the first thing that I will ask them is to actually have them walk me through their day, what they do in a day is the very first thing. And then I'll ask them what they think their biggest productivity block is. And they generally know what their issue is. If it's that they're putting out fires all day, that they are just running their calendar 7 days a week, or their calendar is running them really 7 days a week.
Exactly.
And they're not in control. Or it might be that they just know that they're procrastinators by nature, and they're putting everything off until they're so stressed out. So but that's the first thing that we do is it's really about tell me about what does a day look like what is the day of Kate? What does a day in the life of Kate look like? And then we
That's
start.
scary. Which is why I'm going to your event in a couple weeks.
Yay! I'm so excited.
So when we hear the term productivity, it means something different to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So what does it mean when somebody works with you on that? How do you define what you're going to do with them as far as, productivity training?
That's a great question. I think a lot of times when people think productivity, they think time management.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, as I alluded to earlier, I don't even believe that time management is a thing that we can do. We can't manage time. Like I have the same 24 hours that Tony Robbins has. I have the same 24 hours. You have the same 24 hours that Oprah has. But why are they getting so much done? Right.
Right.
And it's not that they're getting so much done. So to me, productivity is about getting the right things done.
Mm-hmm.
About not being busy. It's not about getting all the things done. It's about getting the things done that matter.
Right.
And discerning what are those things that matter, because sometimes we think things matter and they don't matter. Right?
No, it's very true. I mean, sometimes we do busy work just to be busy.
Right.
And that's not actually reaching, and that's not actually helping us get toward our actual goal.
Yeah. Gary Keller, who's the author of The One Thing, he says that activity is often unrelated to productivity. Like, just because you're active, like people say, oh, I'm productive, I get a lot done. And it's like, yeah, well, that's not really productive. That's busy.
Mm-hmm.
And so busyness rarely takes care of business is the other half of that quote. And that's the truth. And
so is that part of what you're working on then with the people who work with you, is to discern between what's the work that's going to get you to your goal? What are your money-making activities that you're doing? And then what's the busy work?
Right. What are the needle driving activities? When and how do you focus on those? How do you even categorize them?
Mm-hmm.
And what is delegatable? What can be done only by you?
Mm-hmm.
And we have true misconceptions in our brain of what's delegatable and what's not. Right. So yeah, we do a lot of that. Like, what is going to drive the needle, and what are the things out there that will drive the needle that you haven't even pursued yet?
Mm-hmm.
And we start pursuing them and figuring out how to pursue them and breaking them down into manageable pieces.
So can you give me an example of somebody, and maybe I can kick you into gear just by the example, or we can use me even, but even though we haven't worked one-on-one together. But for example, I always usually every October I work with a colleague of mine, and we spend a full day retreat and we plan our vision for the following year, for the oncoming year. So of course, last October's vision for this year didn't include a pandemic and some life events.
Right.
But one of the things I had finally been wanting to do for a long time was to hire a bookkeeper. It seemed like this huge thing that was going to cost me a huge amount of money. When I finally did the research and looked into it, I learned that it was going to save me a lot of time. It wasn't going to cost that much money, and it was going to be probably one of the best things I could do for myself. And I finally did it and hired that person in January. And that's just been a gift. Yeah. I mean, but and then I always go, well, it was good that I did it by myself for a while, because then I kind of could keep my finger on the pulse and I empowered myself to know what to do and know what to look for. But, I went way too many years without sort of saying, okay, I'm finally going to do this. So I would imagine there must be other Kates like me that come to you. Oh, and I must say, I have to interrupt. I'm sorry. My comments in StreamYard are not working. And I can't bring it up on my phone. So if anybody's putting comments in, I sadly cannot see them. So I'm going to keep trying, but I can't figure out why that's happening. So if people are commenting, I can't see it right now, unfortunately.
Well, your example, Kate, is yeah. And first of all, let's talk about that. We are, I already got kicked out. I couldn't get in. Like, we've had all kinds of technology.
Yeah, and you know what? This app is normally just stellar, and I just don't know what's happening. But
please don't be afraid to reach out and comment to us. And
right. Well, if anybody puts comments in, I'm going to go in right after we're done, and Julie will too. And the other thing is the majority of people who are going to be watching this always watch the replay anyway. So we will also stay in tune and monitor for, we'll pop in here and there if you tag us. And then if you tag Julie at Julie Davis on LinkedIn, she can also answer your questions in the chat. So I'm sorry for the interjection there on that, but I just want people to know. If people are asking questions, I'm not seeing them right now.
So your example, Kate, of the bookkeeper is probably one of the biggest. The finances is one of the biggest things that people put off, and it is one of the biggest time sucks for those of us who are not financial people in our businesses. 2 years in a row, I had to hire someone to clean up my mess and still didn't hire a bookkeeper. So I too hired a bookkeeper just this January.
Yay! And I didn't know that.
And what a relief. No,
what a relief, right?
Because we are twins separated at birth.
Well, and isn't tax season going to be a whole new different ballgame this year?
It's a whole, and because I paid this woman those other 2 years to catch me up before tax season, that was a whole game changer. But I had to pay her, all this money to catch me up, and then I was already behind by 5 months for the current year.
But, so do you put people through a process where you kind of say, let's take your priorities, and they may not think they're their priorities?
Right. We look at what are the things that are going to drive your business forward. We'd even take your vision and your goals that you set every October for the next year, and we break them down. Like, so how is that going to happen? I make you dream big, like you dream big, and there's no how attached to it. There shouldn't ever be. And then we need to figure out the how. So then we worry about when do things need to happen in order for this to work. And a big part of what I talk about and what I train on and how we go about unfolding your business is the whole concept of the 90-day rule, which is anything you put into place now is going to come to fruition 90 days from now.
Wow.
And when we have business dry up, and we're like, I don't know what happened. I don't know why I don't have any business right now. Things are so slow. It's not what you're doing right now. It's what were you doing 3 months ago or not doing 3 months ago that is affecting you now. And we can really trace it. It's unbelievable what you can you're like, yeah, things are screaming along right now. I don't have to do much, right? Well, in 90 days, you're going to be like, what happened?
So what are some places where, like, if somebody comes to you and they're going to be like, I'm going to hire Julie Davis because she's going to help me be more productive and do this and that. They're coming into it with a frame of mind of what? Like, what are they coming to you with? But yet you're knowing that, like, well, maybe we're going to get to that, but we're going to start here. Like, maybe you're flipping it on them. I don't know. I'm asking.
Oh yeah. Because people think they have a time management problem.
So is that usually the number one thing they think that you're going to help? That, yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
They are overwhelmed by their calendar. Mm-hmm. And so I don't generally, it's very rare that I actually use the term time management. The only reason I usually use it is because I know that's what people search for.
Yeah, right. Well, exactly. I think people probably do search
for time management. They're looking for productivity. They're looking for efficiency, something like that. So generally, people will reach out because they've got a calendaring they are being controlled by their calendar, they're being controlled by their business, they're being controlled by their clients. And so that's where they start with me. A lot of times the conversation starts with me. Some people come to my event and they find out now they even know better what they don't know. And they're like, yeah, we're going to get started here. So, yeah.
So where do habits come into all of this, if at all?
Habits.
You work on that? Like, do you help as you're working with them and helping them with their, whatever you want to call, not time management, but time management, and their productivity? I would imagine some of that is based in some level of
habit. We are creatures of habit. Yeah. We as a matter of human nature take the path of least resistance. And the path of least resistance is doing the things that we've always done in the way that we've always done them, even though we know it's getting us nowhere.
Right.
or it's getting us somewhere, but very slowly at a
Right.
snail's pace. And so, it's really is about, it's a matter of habit. It's not a matter of time management. It's a matter of we're not even aware of the things that we do and the way that we operate. We just know that we're overwhelmed and something's got to give.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we do when we work together is we dig into what are the habits, and we start shifting. You start thinking about things differently, and you start being much more aware of what you're doing. I have a course called Prioritize with Power that where you become like the number one way to battle and start integrating new habits is to be aware of your current habits.
Yeah, right.
So we have to be aware, because 40 to 50% of what we do in a given day is without thought or intention. It's habit. 50% in some studies, 40% in some. So 40 to 50.
Okay.
So we have to dig in to what is existing behavior in order to make new behavior. And so that's what it's all about. I give you new language, new terminology to use, which is how you start problem solving rather than being reactive. We start being proactive in your nature. And then there's all kinds of things around your calendar that there's tools, there's things that we integrate. And the reason we have to start with the habit is because no tool will work until you change your habit. No tool will work until you're aware of your behavior. You've all probably downloaded the latest app, gotten this great planner. Somebody told you about this book. So you've been doing all this work to try to manage your time better, but none of it's going to work unless your habits change, unless all these things change. So I'm glad you asked that question, and it sounds harder than it is. It's one habit at a time.
Right.
One
you
habit.
You chunk it out, basically.
Right. We do it one step, one thing at a time. My program is it's multi-stepped so that it feels like the path of least resistance, because the rewards are so fruitful.
So I just wanted to let people know I was able to finally get the show up on my phone. So if people are on and want to ask questions, I can see it through my phone. So Julie, if you see me looking down, I don't want you to think I'm being rude. And it's because I'm looking on my phone. So if anybody is listening right now and you have questions for Julie about productivity and habits and all kinds of things, then let them rip. And but so here's I'm going to use me as an example again. I am a person who hates structure. I think it's the Aquarius in me. I'm more of the creative, big picture, big idea. Certainly I can make things work because I'm obviously making my business work, but I'm not a process person. I know there needs to be, and when somebody shows me what the process is and I know it's going to be part of what I need to do in my business, I will do it. But from a habit standpoint, I'm not even a person with habits. I don't get up at the same time every day. I don't have the same morning routine. I just do what I do. I'm curious, so for somebody like me, are we beyond help?
No, definitely not.
Because if somebody tries to make me fit into a perfect little box, I'm going to be a little bit not so much.
No, what we would say, so people have a morning routine. So there's people that they get up at the same time and then they do the same thing in the same order every day. Other people, I actually have worked with a lot of creatives, Kate, and they're they are so resistant to anything that says a system or structure.
Right.
But what if we just said, okay, in your morning hours, what I would like you to do is, this is through coaching and talking and figuring out what needs to be done. You're going to do these three things at some point in your morning, whatever it looks like.
Right.
And so it might be more malleable than structured. And we find what works and what doesn't. And you might be like, we tried this, and I have a client right now. She's like, this whole time blocking thing, it's not working for me, and blah, blah. And so we stepped it back and we integrated things. And now 6 months later, she's like, so I'm doing this thing, and it's like it's time blocking. And she goes, I know you tried to get me to do this 6 months ago, and now I'm ready. And so
Yeah.
it's like, you have to take your journey through it. We learn, I teach you, I teach you all the concepts. We're in it together, and things work when they work, but nobody's a cookie cutter.
Right.
And nobody has the same habits. And even in your habit of it, you have a habit of non-habit. I mean,
Right. My habit is that I don't have a habit.
there's still
I probably
behavior.
have more than I realize.
There's still behaviors in there, Kate. And so we uncover them and unlock them. And then we start integrating tools and processes and things that usually make you sweat when you hear those words. But then we find ways where they actually start working, because we've uncovered so much and you have so much awareness, and we start shifting. And what happens because of that, is your business starts growing, because you're actually focusing on things in an intentional manner, rather than when you feel like doing it, or when you don't, whatever it is. And so things start becoming just more intentional.
Okay.
Because what happens with a lot of times, if you don't have the habits in place, if you have, whatever, is that we end up with these intentions, but we don't get intentional. So they were just the best of intentions. And as we all know, the road to HE double hockey sticks is paved with good intentions, right?
Exactly. No, exactly. So when I think about one of the things, I worked with a coach who's also a dear friend, who helped me with time blocking, or we called it time chunking or whatever. And I find that actually is a habit, and it's one of the best things I ever did. And so, for example, with my schedule, Mondays and Fridays are completely blocked off. That's for work. I mean, I might choose to do an appointment if no one else can do my other time, but I'm also doing my productivity work, like my admin work, my client work, my editing, this and that. And then on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, like if people want to make an appointment on my calendar and I've given them the link, then they can find their times there. But I also have it so that if I have 2 back to back and there's a half an hour in between, I block that off so that I'm not doing back to back to back Zoom calls and stuff like that. And since I've done that, it's worked. It's worked really well, and it's been a real lifesaver for sure. And I'm still working weekends, and I'm still sometimes working nights, but when I have to, because I'm on a deadline or something. But the other thing I was going to ask you, and this is leading into my next question, is do you actually help people with tools like a CRM, a client relations management tool? So like if you're working with them on their own behaviors, are you also helping them or guiding them or giving them advice on how they could create task lists through their client, management tool, if that's something that applies to them?
I am not working with anything. I'm not working with any electronic.
Okay.
Yeah, that's back end, that's like systems management,
right. So that's going like
systems management. That's that, and then I know people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right. But what we will do is get them ready.
Yeah.
So that they're in a place to integrate that's painless.
Okay.
Because we've already done so much work with the task list, and how to really not just have this never ending task list. How do we create a classified, not like classified like top secret, but classification, like science class, classified and categorized. How do we make it manageable? And then if they want to integrate it into like an app, there's a great app called Todoist that a lot of my clients used, or in their CRM, or with Google or Outlook or wherever they want to use a task list. They can find ways to make it more manageable and a lot less stress inducing.
Okay. So if you were going to leave people with 3, I don't know, either action steps or takeaways after they hear us, and we've still got more time for sure, what would be 3 quick tips that you could suggest to people to they could do as soon as they get off listening to our interview?
To help them become more productive?
Yes.
Okay. The very first thing that I suggest is that you start looking at your task list and dividing it into, I have a whole talk around it, do, delegate, or dump. What are the things that you can do? What are the things that can be delegated, and what can be dumped?
Do, delegate, or dump. I love that.
Do, delegate, dump. It's my 3D system.
Yeah.
So do, delegate, dump. That's number one. Number two is take those do's and decide when you're going to do them. Knowing that you can't do more than 1 to 3 of them in any given day, depending on how busy your calendar already is.
Right.
How full. Don't use the word busy. How full your calendar already is. Busy out of the vocabulary. So you're going to do no more than 3. So 1 to 3 in any given day off your task list, because your task list isn't really in your calendar. It's just this other, it's supplemental, right?
Right.
So that's the second thing. The third thing I would say, as resistant as Kate is to this, is to try to integrate what is some semblance of a morning routine and what is some semblance of an end of day routine, so that you know when you're done, so that you're not working into the night.
Right. Which I don't do anywhere near as much as I used to.
Good.
So,
that's 3 simple tips. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't feel guilty about it anymore either.
Good.
You know, and so when I do have that Monday and Friday when I'm doing my client work, I'm getting the majority of my work done in 4 to 5 hours, which is great, because it didn't used to be that way.
Which most people, I will tell you, most people should be able to get their work done in 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah.
But they're wasting time. So, that would be the other tip. I'm going to give you one other tip. If you do nothing else today, I want you to get off this call, this show, and I want you to turn off your notifications. The only thing
I've done that.
It's freeing. You should not be knowing when anything happens on Facebook. You should not be knowing when anything happens on Twitter. You should not be knowing when anything happens on like CNN or MSNBC or like whatever you're getting. Turn them off.
Amen to that. I agree. And you know what? You can even take it a step further and don't even let it show the number. Like on your app, like if there's 3 emails in, don't take that off.
I don't know if I've gotten an email on here. I have to open it.
Yeah.
Or you can hide your email completely.
Right. And I've also taken it off my desktop. The only notification I get now is my calendar notification.
It saves you hours.
Yep.
Hours.
And worry. It saves worry.
Yeah.
So yesterday, it's funny. I don't know if you saw it, but I posted on Facebook last night. I did 9 hours in front of my computer yesterday. And I haven't done that what?
I commented on that.
Yes, you did. And I don't normally, but part of it was I was up against a deadline due to time zone, because I'm working with somebody in Australia, and I was thinking I had an extra day and I didn't, because it was already their day. So I was like nose to the grindstone to get that done. And I did. And then I had to like get onto the rest of the stuff, but I only took, and this is exactly what not to do. I only took a 15-minute break. And then by the time I finished at almost 6:30, 7 o'clock last night, I was just wiped out. And I'm thinking, I haven't done that in a long time, and now I know why. So I met the deadline, because sometimes it's almost like back in the days when you crammed for a test. Sometimes you just have to do it, but your goal should be not to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 100% not to do that.
So do you want to share what a day in the life of Julie looks like? Like, you must have a habit for your days, and maybe each day is different, but you probably have it chunked out. If you feel like you can share a little.
Each day is a little different. But I get up in the morning and, make my tea, and then, look at my calendar. What do I have? What appointments do I have that day?
Yep.
And I have I can't, where is it? Here it is, right where it belongs. I have a activity planner tear-off sheet that I developed. And so this is where I manage my tasks, which there's a way for all of you to get this too. It's a free gift that's out there. But so I look at that and figure out my do, delegate, dumps. But I also then take a minute. I subscribe to the Skim so I can get my news pretty quickly, and it's
So do
tongue in
I.
it, and it's awesome. I love it so much, and I know what's going on in the world, and then I'm done in 5 to 10 minutes with my news. And then I fire up my computer, and if I've got projects to work on, if I've got things I need to develop, that's when I do it in the morning. I have client appointments in the afternoon. Right now I'm teaching a course, so that's at noon. My Prioritize the Power course is at noon once a week. And I have my group that I run, that's once every other week. So it just depends on the week as far as that goes. But I also walk, play tennis, and play golf. So those things happen in there too.
Yeah, good. I know. I see your golfing pictures with your son, RJ, and
yeah,
that photo shoot you had done was so great.
So fun. The COVID photo shoot.
Yeah, and I see that you've incorporated it into your work too, which I think is great. It caught my attention.
Thank you.
So I'm just gonna shift gears here a little bit. So Julie, actually, one of the things whenever I do my Coffee with Kate show is I like to bring you guys actionable tips and takeaways that you can take into your business world. And if somebody has a program or something that they want to talk about, I of course let them do that. But Julie has an event coming up called Unstuck, the event, right?
Yes.
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 And right. I'm actually going to be attending. So this might be something that people are interested in. And again, I'm not trying to be salesy here, but if you wanted an opportunity to have a chance to see what Julie does in a more intense, more than just like a 1 hour virtual something or other. So Julie, tell us about your Unstuck event that's coming up. It's first week in November?
It's November 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Okay.
It's not 3 full days. Don't freak out.
It's not full days. I mean, it's 3 days, but it's not 3 full days. So
it's a half day, full day, half day. And I am fully aware of the fatigue that sets in being on camera in your chair. So there are a lot of built-in breaks. There's a lot of breakouts. There's a lot of things that we do. I am not a lecturer. I am a collaborator. So there's a lot of collaborating that happens. But this event is all about digging into what are your big wishes and wants in your business, and what are your frustrations in trying to get there. And we break through that. And this event is all about getting clear on what you want in your business, and making a plan of how to get it, and you leave with a plan of implementation. It's not fluff. I'm not fluffy. I'm not a fluffy girl.
No, you're not a fluffy girl.
I'm a funny girl. I'm a fun girl, but when we work, we work. And so this is not an event that's going to be, this is great information, and it sits on your desk and you don't know what to do with it. Like, you leave with a plan of attack. Like, how are you going to make it happen? And so that's what this is all about. It's about finding a business breakthrough. It's about getting clarity on what's really important and what's not, and connecting, because it's all also about community. So I train, you work on it, you talk about it with your small groups, and then you ask questions, and then we make a plan. So it's like very much how I used to run my classroom. I was a teacher for almost 20 years, and it's just that's how I operate.
What did you teach?
So I taught English, high school English.
High school English.
Yeah.
Oh, God bless you.
And I taught public speaking as well, but at the college level. So I'm very much about the community, the workshopping, the masterminding, as well as the training. Like, the power of other people's eyes and other people's brains is massive. And so this is a place that you can come. You'll have an opportunity to have more if you want to have more, but the event itself is going to give you so much meat to move forward with.
And you're doing kind of a combo. You're doing it live, right, in person, but you're also doing it virtual.
Yeah, I have a live studio audience of up to 20 people. I think I have 10 in there right now, who can come and they'll watch me broadcasting. But when they break out and do all that thing, or when we have the breaks, they have access to me and access to each other.
So are you going to be like in a separate venue?
So I will be, my plan was to be in a studio initially anyway. So now
Right.
what we did was move to basically a ballroom at my country club.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah, so we'll be broadcasting from there, and then they will be sitting at tables socially spread out.
Right.
I think some people were tired of being on Zoom, and I wanted to give them that opportunity of being here in person if they wanted to be.
Well,
So I
you're
have,
in Colorado, and I think where you are is low numbers in Greene County, right?
yeah, we're
Yeah.
quite small.
Yeah,
We're
same here in
very,
Vermont. We're lucky. We've been fortunate,
yeah.
and we as Vermonters have been very diligent. I was when I was on my way back to my office here, I had an appointment before this call. I was listening to our governor's press conference, talking about how even though we're in good shape, this is no time to get complacent either. So
Right.
I think
And
when we all
if we have elevated numbers and things get crazy, then I can just, they'll go virtual,
right.
and I'll make it right for them. But it's, here's the other thing I want to say about this pandemic. It's caused a lot of people to be paralyzed and not sure how to shift, or they know what they
Mhm.
want to do, but they've never, operated that way before. This event is a great way to give you space and time to work that out.
Yeah.
And so that is the gift of this event.
Mhm.
Whether it's a pandemic or not, but especially in these times, it's giving you time to like actually dig in and solve the problem.
Right. Right.
So I want to iterate that, because it's a great opportunity to think about your business even more differently, and the power of the shift and the pivot I know a lot of people aren't liking the shift and pivot right now, but
Mhm. Mhm.
truth. And
Yeah. I
it's
don't
the
think the word
reality.
pivot's ever been used as much as it has in
And
2020.
and this gives you an avenue and a tool in which to dig in and start actually making it happen.
Julie, who are the primary types of people that you work with?
I mostly work with women business owners, entrepreneurs. They generally have, they're solopreneurs, or they have, five
Small
to
team.
10 contractors or even employees. I worked with some brick and mortars, small
Yeah.
boutique type businesses.
Mhm.
Those are the main businesses that I'm not big corporate. I'm not,
Right.
that is not my lingo. And,
So, like, it's kind of similar to the types of people I work with. I mean, entrepreneurs, solo
mhm,
entrepreneurs, speakers, authors, coaches,
very much.
who are trying to do it all.
They are trying to do it all. And I've worked with boutique owners. I've worked with small construction companies, like a concrete company. We are very successful there. Right now I've got a photographer, I've got a financial planner, I've got a bookkeeper. I've really got an array of,
Mhm.
of folks that I work with. But I think you and I have a very similar,
I think we have a very similar buyer persona.
population that we serve. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to attending. It's going to be a nice change, and it's going to be an investment in me, and an investment in me, and an investment in me and myself. Because I know that when I say myself in business, it's also me. Because what we all want to be doing is we all want to be creating a business that we love and that can nurture us, and and reward us with a lifestyle that we want. But part of that is also learning when to say no, learning when to delegate. I love the do, delegate, or dump.
Yeah.
You should make that a hashtag, Julie.
Oh, I should.
Yeah, you should.
It's my system. It's my talk. It's what I talk about all the time. So you're right. I should make it a hashtag.
Yeah, yeah. So the other thing I wanted to know is, normally this show would go longer because we'd have comments, but I can see that it's something still stuck with it. So I will be getting in touch with tech support after this to see what happened. But the best thing is that people can still get all of your good advice and your insights too.
Yeah.
How can people, if they want to just like have a discovery call with you or something, or learn more about what you do one-on-one, what are some of the ways they can reach out to you? And I also want you to give me, when you're done with that, I want you to give me the actual link to your event, and I'll put it in the comments.
Awesome.
Okay.
So if someone wants to connect with me and just have a strategy session, discovery session, you can just go to juliemillerdavis.com/strategy. And that links you to a 30-minute discovery session with me.
JulieMillerDavis.com/what?
Strategy.
Strategy. Okay, I'm putting that in the comments.
Yep, /strategy.
Okay.
And to check out my event. This is, you're not obligated. You can just see what it's all about. Some videos, testimonials, different things on there. Put the W's in front of it because otherwise it won't pop up. www.unstuck.juliemillerdavis.com.
Unstuck.juliemillerdavis. You know how when somebody's like watching or you're on pressure, you can't type? www.unstuck.juliemillerdavis.com.
Yes, that's where you get more information about that.
Okay.
And and if you have questions about that, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can message me through LinkedIn. You can message me through Facebook, but you can also just email me, julie@juliemillerdavis.com. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about it. I would love to have you there. We have so much possibility with being virtual. It was heartbreaking and like globally opening the doors to everyone to attend this event. So I invite all of you to check it out.
I'm excited and I'm signed up, and I have not worked with Julie before. So I'm really excited. It's been most of you who are on this know that I've had a heck of a year. Not even related to COVID. It's just that COVID made it all worse.
Yes.
So in some ways, I feel like it would be overly dramatic to say that I'm starting over again, but reentry has been challenging because I've been so out of business mode and I want to get back. I want to get my mindset back. And yet I also know that the way I was doing things even beforehand isn't necessarily what's still relevant today. Right. So I'm in a process of, reassessing and figuring that out. I'm curious, Julie, I just thought of this, if you have a few more minutes.
Yeah.
Have you had more people reaching out to you because of the pandemic or because of COVID, because they just feel like this big cloud is weighing over them and they can't see straight, so to speak?
So it's an interesting question. There have been a few, but I think that what has happened actually through the pandemic is people have, they've been paralyzed and they have not reached out. They've sort of shrunk in themselves instead of looking out there and reaching out there. But I think that now at this point, after 7 months and knowing that things are not going to change anytime soon, they're starting to kind of go, man, something's got to give if I want to keep my business.
Yeah.
So there's some people attending talks that I'm doing. People are reaching out for me to come talk, and some people are reaching out and scheduling sessions with me just to have a strategy session because I think they finally are ready. But I think what happened is actually some paralysis around it and fear and just not even sure where to go or what they needed. And so what I will say is every single one of my clients that I had when the pandemic hit, it was fast and unbelievable the way that they were able to shift. And I know some of you aren't liking that word, but the photographer that works with me, she did my golf pictures. Family golf pictures. She went underground for about a week and a half, and then we figured it out. And she did these. She did drive-by photo shoots for charity.
Yes.
So you donated $100 to a charity. She came and did your shots, and then guess what? None of us just want the one shot, so we all purchase.
Right.
Along with giving to the charity. And so she ended up raising $4,000 for charity, and she had $5,000 months through the pandemic. And she's a photographer.
We had some people, friends of mine who were photographers, who were doing the same thing. And I think nationally it was called the porch trait, like instead of portrait trait. And a lot of people were doing them like in black and white and stuff like that. So there were actually a couple of good photographer friends of mine here in Vermont that did a similar thing, donated to charity, and they ended up getting a lot more work out of it and awareness. It was a relationship building tool that, and it was a win-win-win.
Totally.
Across the board.
We had, financial planners. It was crazy for them, but the gal that's working with me was able to really put together some strategic, intentional calls to her clients and ended up increasing her own business by $250,000. Like,
Wow.
I'm telling you, like, people, because of the systems and the habits and the languaging that we put into place, they weren't stopped dead for very long, because it's all about, how do you do things differently?
Right.
When the uncontrollable and unexpected happens, how do you do it differently? And we
I think we will all agree that even once we get rid of the virus, I don't think we're going to go back to what we called normal before. I think that this is going to be a game changer across the board, and something that I'm personally worried about living here in Vermont. You know, it's starting to get cold. We've had snow hit, you know, already. A lot of the restaurants that are, you know, mom and pop restaurants have been getting by all summer because they could eat outside and have curbside and takeout and everything. And now when the weather changes, I'm really worried that a lot of these places are going to completely shut down because nobody's going to want to go inside to eat. And how are they going to be able to make ends meet? So,
and I've been seeing some restaurants get super innovative about how they're planning to do that with heaters and tenting and some different things. And so,
well, Colorado's different than Vermont that way, because you guys actually have sun.
Well, we also don't have the humidity that makes it that much colder.
So you don't. So like because sometimes, if you know, we don't even get the snow as much as we used to. We get ice now. It seems like we get ice, and then you know we still get the 20 below temperatures and stuff. And so, you know, I'm praying that we have a mild winter from the standpoint of businesses. But I'm also praying we get dumped on so we can ski. Yeah. So anyway, so Julie, thank you so much for being on my Coffee with Kate show today.
Thank you so much for having me. I love it.
And I apologize that the comments weren't working, but like I said, most everybody's going to see this on the replay. I will also be putting this interview on my website at standingoutonline.com/videos. And so it will live on my video channel there. And I will also upload it to my YouTube channel too. So everybody always sees the replay more than they see the live. And I will continue to promote it. And then I will hop in to LinkedIn and Facebook to answer any questions that people may have put out there. And hopefully, Julie, if you can pop in at some point, that would be great.
I will do it.
Okay. All right. So thanks for watching, everybody. I have another couple LinkedIn Lives coming up. My next one is going to be with a woman from Australia. Her first name is Kate, so you know it's going to be good. Her last name is, it's hyphenated name. So it's Kate Hoare-Lacey, and she is a sales guru. And she is actually going to be doing a LinkedIn lead generation virtual summit with a lot of global LinkedIn experts, of which I am one and appreciative. And we're going to be on November 5th. So stay tuned for that. And thanks again, Julie.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kate. I had a great time.